So, hail Herr Starmer.
Mm.
Hail Herr Starmer. We're gonna talk a little bit politics to start, because I think this has kind of captured most people. And I've got the full transcript here, and I thought we'd just take a look at it, really. So, Keir Starmer, notorious globalist NPC. I mean, he is the definition of a globalist NPC, right?
Yes.
He has chewed up all this stuff, hook, line, and sinker. He doesn't believe in anything aside from this crap. Leader of the Labour Party, Prime Minister of the UK. They've kind of screwed themselves here, because obviously they've bought into this narrative that this is the right approach, globalism, etc., etc., etc. And I don't think that they quite expected the kickback to be as brutal and as severe as it has been lately. Like reform on the rise and things like this, and them caving in the polls, losing loads of council elections, everything. Now, the thing that you guys in the States may not be aware of is that it takes a significant amount of time for the British public to begin to shift their mind, seemingly anyway, like the wider populace. And I'm sure Bo will say a bunch of stuff as well, which will either correspond to this or whatever. But once they've done it, it's really difficult to shift their mind back. Right, the Tories, for instance, they're done. Like, that is a done party now. Like, they do live streams where Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Tory party, is speaking, and they get like 300 views. Right, they were a government. Right, this is insane. They were in power for 14 years, and that's part of the problem, because they're just liars. So anyway, my point of kind of going down that route is the UK public have changed their mind a lot. Immigration has been something which has simmered under the surface for a really, really long time. I actually did a segment when I was on the Lotus Eaters, actually, about culture, and I touched on immigration way back when they started doing reports of, do we have less immigration? And this is like, God, I can't even remember. It was way before even the 90s. People wanted less immigration. People have always wanted less immigration in the UK, right? We've always we don't want people here, right? As a country, we just don't want people here. And you can agree or disagree, but that's democracy. It is quite literally mob rule. Unfortunately, we've not had that. And as a result of being betrayed time and time again, and more recently, it's reached a critical mass, I think, both literally and figuratively. So we had the Boris wave, and within that, there was and with the subsequent years of mass immigration as well, there was such a huge influx of people that now have been emboldened by laws and the general sort of woke policies within businesses and things, that they just will never integrate. We've got signs up in Urdu, for fuck's sake, right? This is England. There should only be signs in English. And now people have had enough. And this is the most poignant topic of conversation politically, that, like, it just is. Like that, it is the most poignant political conversation at this time. It's gripped everyone. There's nothing else really that people are talking about that people care about anymore. It's almost blinkered, one line focus, immigration. People have had enough. So anyway, Prime Minister comes out and he's like, I'm going to release a white paper on immigration, actually just validating everything that we've been saying, and we've been vilified and torn apart as the far right and the alt right just come out and saying we're completely right. Now, this isn't what Keir believes. There's a few things he might, and we'll get to some of his words in a minute, because I've got the transcript here, but he might be terrified because he realizes that his entire front bench of the government are in constituencies that are just going to replace them at the next election with Muslims, right? Because that is a fact. You look at the constituencies that they have, they barely scraped in, and they've imported a class of people that vote en masse solely on sectarian politics. So they fucked themselves. They've completely destroyed themselves and the country in the process. So they might be scared by that, or they're just scared that reform is absolutely climbing up in the poll. And I don't think reform is it. I've said many times I don't think reform is it. Me and Bo have had brutal conversations about reform not being it, and Nigel being a complete weak child of a just a pathetic child. But this speech has gripped everyone, and they're because he mentions Island of Strangers. Everyone compares, because he just says strangers. Everyone compares him to Enoch Powell. I wish, goodness me, I wish we had a caliber of politician like Enoch Powell right now in Parliament. That would be amazing, but we don't. We don't. Sorry, we don't. We don't have anyone with that level of IQ. Maybe Rupert Lowe, but still, I would not compare him to Enoch Powell, I'm afraid. I think Enoch Powell, just from an IQ perspective, yeah, much higher. Anyway, well, I don't want to. This is not a dig on Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe's good. Anyway, so the speech was. This is the speech, talking about taking back control, talking about we don't want to become an island of strangers. This is not by it's not by accident. We're going to do this. We need to move forward as one nation. We're going to tighten up English. English sort of requirements. Like, yeah, obviously that should have been a given anyway. A lot of this common sense. I don't think a lot of this is going to even happen. And a lot of this has been undone by the India trade deal anyway, because we're just going to get flooded with Indians. So there you go. There's kind of like a round out of it all. You guys can chit chat about it now. And if there's something specifically you want me to pull up from this transcript, we'll analyze it a little bit more as well. But I just thought I'd give the overview. Let's get your thoughts first, Bo.
Right. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, or is maybe too young, or is foreign, there was a politician back in the 60s and 70s, Enoch Powell. He was in the government, and he took back in the late 60s. He talked about how mass immigration will just destroy the country, and he took that it will all end in tears. It will all end in rivers of blood. That the foreigners will end up with the whip hand over the white natives. And ever since then, even though it's wildly popular with the electorate, ever since then, Enoch Powell has become the leftists, the socialists, the commies, the traitors. They've tried to make, or have made, his very name shorthand for racism and bigotry. Anyone who actually knows anything about it knows that, no, he was bang on the money. He was, in fact, way ahead of his time. And he was something of a genius. I mean, he went up to Cambridge at 17 years old. He became a full professor at 25, I think. One of the youngest professors in the Empire, the British Empire, as it was at the time, in like the 1930s, it would have been. So the guy is sort of a genius. Well, absolutely a genius. And he had the guts back in the late 60s to say, let's not flood our country with foreign people that have got no intention of assimilating. And they will bring the third world with them, essentially. All the stuff that has now come to an absurd reality these days, where our cities are foreign enclaves to all intents and purposes. Anyway, in one of his speech, a famous speech, the Rivers of Blood speech, which anyone on the left will insist is just a pure racist scree. In that, he also said, one of his turns of phrase was that we'll become an island of strangers. And Keir Starmer used those exact words the other day. I think it was yesterday morning he made this speech, I think.
Yeah.
And so anyone that knows, which is most people in sort of the British political class, they knew that. That wasn't lost on them. Immediately, they were like, he's quoting Enoch Powell. Oh, he's quoting Enoch Powell, Labour Prime Minister, super globalist, super woke, grey man, postman Pat, Keir Starmer, has quoted the evil Enoch Powell. So that's basically what it is. But so in one sense, good from my point of view, from our point of view, on the right-hand side of the aisle, good, because if nothing else, it sort of moves the conversation. It moves the Overton window, if you believe that even exists. It moves it a bit. So that's all well and good. But of course, it's just bluster. It's just nonsense. It's just lies. It's got no intention, I don't think, of doing any of this, of actually saving us demographically. I mean, it's just like you say, he's going to smash the people smuggling gangs or stop the boats. He hasn't done any of those things. He's not acting in Britain's best interest at all. And this is just some sort of this is just some sort of weak source to signal to people that I don't know who really would buy it. Because it's like it's backstabbing his own base, i.e., leftists. They all hate it.
Mm.
They hate
Yeah, they
it.
get mental online.
It's funny how much they're spitting the dummy out about it. And anyone who's really based doesn't buy it for a second. So it's just because he shit his pants that Nigel and Reform have done brilliantly at the last local elections a week or two back, whenever it was. So he's throwing out a bit of red meat to try and mitigate that in some way. No one really believes it, I don't think.
No.
So that's what
No.
happened. Yeah,
You
that's the
know,
story.
Bo, I weighed in on this today on X and said the numbers must be looking horrifically bad for him to come out and do this kind of thing, and for everybody that's paying attention, just call him out as the liar that he is. Because this is, we had Biden say, well, we're going to manage immigration. We're going to turn it back. Da, da, da. Yeah, 4 years freaking later, we had to elect a new president to get rid of the massive influx because the numbers didn't go down. They went up. He physically was importing people, and he created an app for people to use on their smartphone to bring their sorry asses here to become the parasites that they are. I mean, and that's the same problem y'all are suffering from, the massive, infestation of people who have no interest or, in fact, they have the exact opposite plan than to assimilate into your culture.
Doesn't
you
even
know.
matter if they do want to assimilate. We don't want them here. We
Well,
just don't. Like, they're
well, I
not
mean,
welcome.
yeah, I mean, wow, Carl Benjamin was talking about how the UK is xenophobic. I wouldn't even go on to describe it that way, but I will just say,
It's not xenophobia. The thing is that we're a very small island,
yes,
and
you're
we've
not
got
big.
a long, long, long history, and very, very specific key customs and cultures that we don't want completely destroyed and eroded. People keep banging on about immigration. Immigration built Britain. No, it didn't. Shut
No,
up.
it did not.
What
No,
we
it
can
didn't.
thank for migration and immigration is the fact that if I go to a Christmas market, I might get killed, right? Because that's quite commonplace now in Europe. Christmas market terror attacks. Oh, I don't know. I walk through any city now in especially London, but any city in the UK, I've got to look at god awful fucking gigantic concrete bollards because terrorists, foreigners, decided that they wanted to go kill natives. Oh, good, great. Thank you so much for that contribution. We also have to talk about rape gangs. Oh, fantastic, great. Well done for that contribution. That's such a great building block of this great civilization. I don't know. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Oh, machete gangs. Oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah, love that
Yeah,
contribution.
but
They haven't contributed anything.
and
Nothing at all.
that's the problem. They don't assimilate with your culture. They bring all their bad crap with them. And, they I don't know that they even bother to speak the language. At least here we're trying to make it so that you have to speak English. I mean, it seems like you're the place where the language is named after, England. Perhaps they should all speak English. It's very strange. And again, people can be mad at me for having that perspective. But if I go to Germany, do you know what I
Doesn't
expect
matter.
to speak? German. Most people
It
are going to
doesn't.
speak English, but you understand my point.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter whether people have an issue with, like, we're not America. England is named after the English, right? Like, this isn't America. It's a completely different concept with respect to our borders and immigration policy. And this melting pot was never a thing. England was never a melting pot. This isn't what Britain is, and it's not what British people want either. And we voted consistently against this time and time again, and consistently time and time again we've been just deceived, just out and out deceived, non-stop, just absolutely stabbed in the back. And now it's kind of reached that, again, that critical mass. I like that for it. I think that is the best phrase to describe it. It is a critical mass, both figuratively and literally, because you can't walk anywhere without now seeing strangers. Talks about the island of strangers. We're already an island of strangers, and you can't walk anywhere without seeing it because it's just so huge now, the amount of people that were imported. And they don't do anything. They don't do anything. They just take.
Yeah, no, the very fabric of our society and civil society has been more or less ruined over the last 20 years or so. A concerted, deliberate plan, as far as I'm concerned, started with Sir Tony Blair, Order of the Garter, back in 1997, and it just accelerated, if anything, by the Cameron government, and then under Boris, the Boris wave after Brexit, the line just goes almost vertically up, and we our island is too small to accommodate it all, and just endless problems with infrastructure, to say the least. Not to mention the crime and the sex crime, the endless crime. Not to even mention that. Just our National Health Service buckling. You can't get a dentist. You can't buy a house because you can't get school places, and on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, it can't go on forever. There's probably something in the order of 10 million people here that shouldn't be, just simply shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So the idea that Keir Starmer makes a speech where he quotes Enoch Powell once, that's not good enough. Oh, we're going to reduce net immigration from 1 million or 700,000. We're going to reduce that down to maybe something like 350,000 net increase per year.
So
it's like, that's nowhere near good enough. That's absurd. Like, don't.
But it's actually worse than that, Bo. So if you listen to what he was saying afterwards and in the conversations and stuff, that's by the end of the Parliament term.
Right, which is
So
still
it's not even now. We're just going to phase it in. It's like, no, you shut down the borders in COVID overnight. You could do that now. And that's why everyone knows that he's full of shit. Because you could do it overnight when COVID happened. We were locked in our houses overnight when COVID happened. Fuck your human rights. Who cares? But these random foreign fighting age men that turn up, yep, no, your human rights are super important. No, this is bollocks. Had enough. And that's the thing. Everyone has had enough. They've had enough of the political classes that spit in their face and hate them. And this is pandering, but it's pandering to no one, because those that are aware are like, this is hilariously terrible. You're an idiot. No one's going to believe this. And people that supported Keir and got him in power, actually did vote for him, hates him for this. So he's completely screwed it, which is good. Good for us.
I mean, when you look at Keir Starmer, you look at his life, you look at who he is. Well, the sheer fact he's called Keir. Right? If anyone doesn't know, he's named after Keir Hardie, the founder of the Labour Party. I mean, imagine what sort of family that is, where they have a kid in the 70s, or whenever he was born, late 60s maybe, and they call him Keir. Right? I mean, that right there. When he was a student, he was like so left wing that even like the Fabian Society was sort of suspicious of him. You know, he's sort of a dyed in the wool crypto communist pinko. Yeah, he is not acting in the interests of this country, and I don't believe him. No one believes him. Yeah, he does this little dog whistle of an actual example of a dog whistle, or except everyone can hear it. So he quoted Enoch Powell once. Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. So it's just,
you know what I hate about this?
If anything else, it's funny to watch the meltdown from the lefties on mainstream media.
Well, so that's what I was going to move to next, actually, is that what I hate about this is that the conversation has reignited the conversation about Enoch Powell's speech and how much of a racist he is, rather than mainstream media and everyone else, any commentator, right, just go in, yeah, no, he was right. He was absolutely unequivocally right. You know, the only thing Enoch Powell was wrong about was the degree of decline. And my God, I wish it was as simple as he had sort of expected it to become. It's way worse. It's not even tenfold. It's so much worse than he predicted. But yeah, he was incredibly prophetic. And anyone labeling him a racist now, and his speech and all this kind of and baseless. I've been replying to people on Twitter all day about it. You're deluded. Like, you're actually deluded. Go outside. You're being gaslit. Anyone who thinks Enoch Powell's speech was racist, right, and an awful, horrible speech, and not just something which is quite literally prophesizing what has now become, way worse, but still prophetic to it. You've been gaslit and you're a moron. Go listen to his speech. I posted it on Twitter this morning. It's really good. It's a fantastic speech. Enoch Powell was a superb orator. Brilliant speaker.
It's completely reasonable, isn't it? And absolutely prophetic. Like it now maps onto reality. Yeah, the only thing he got wrong was the depth of it. Do you know what it makes me think of? When the American Civil War broke out, everyone was saying it'll be over in 3 months. There'll be one big battle, and it will all be over in 3 months, and there'll be a few thousand casualties on each side. And William Tecumseh Sherman said, no, this will probably last for years, and there'll be hundreds of thousands of casualties, and we'll need armies in the millions and stuff. And everyone said, you're mad. Like they literally said, you need to be committed. You're mad. You're a madman. And it turned out, if anything, again, he'd undersold the numbers of what actually happened. Anyway, if anything, Enoch Powell, the idea that he's still just a shorthand for insane bigotry and blind racism, F those people. It's too late for them. They're old hat. No one's buying that anymore. Very few people are buying. Only Guardianistas are buying that anymore. Only true lefty partisans buy that narrative anymore.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the latest on Keir Starmer. You got anything else to add, Culture?
Nothing. Just dude's a straight up liar. It's stone cold liar. I think that everybody in your country probably knows that. The pushback here in America from all the people I've seen on any of his recent posts on X has been fairly extreme, letting him know exactly how full of it we all know he is. Hopefully y'all over there got it nailed. So we're believe me, we're firmly on the UK's side, just like we're on the Canadian side. Right. And our little dust up over trade is, a big bit about nothing. And the Canadians are digging themselves a hole. Carney came over here and showed his ass. I'm like, all these globalists are just going to show you their ass. Carney showed his ass. Starmer showed his ass. All these people are going to back up because when you have somebody who's an actual leader and has authority and power, is actually sitting in the United States office of president, the world's better off. I mean, did you see how the Saudis reacted just to having Trump there? Did you see what happened after Trump and the Chinese came to an agreement to settle the balance of their differences over the course of the next 90 days when it comes to trade, with an immediate suspension and shift to a 30% tariff from the U.S. and a 10% tariff for the Chinese? That's it. All of a sudden, we're back to going great guns. The economy exploded, markets exploded around the world, and the climate hoax is now being called out for what it is. It's like you put somebody in power who is not going to, trifle with the bologna sausage, and everything gets better. And the people that, need to get in line. Or, as looks like in your country, you may have new leadership. Because reform seems to be running quite well. Well, I'm sorry. Do you think Starmer will do well after what just happened to him in all the local councils elections?
We're just stuck with them for like 4 years. So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's your silly way of putting a government together, but that's fine.
In the polls for the next general election, Reform are just leading, sort of outright leading by a fair few points.
Yeah.
So there won't be. If there were a general election tomorrow, they would at least be the biggest party in Parliament, not necessarily the government, but we shall see. I mean, we were just behind the curve. Well, America, the United States with Trump is sort of lucky in a sense. It's not really the right word, luck, but they're ahead of the curve, if you like, because most of Europe are doing, places like France and Germany and Spain and Portugal. They're doing a bit like in Britain, doing everything they can to just thwart the rise of the right.
Yeah, the Germans outright are trying to enfranchise the people in the AfD.
Yeah.
We've got some super chats about this. So Chaos is Fun says it's an insult to Powell to be compared to Comrade Starmer. He has neither the eloquence or intelligence to make the argument against any form of migration.
Very true.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. You're not wrong there at all. Mexican Iron Man, my favorite burrito eating, taco loving Mexican philanthropist, says we need to save the UK as we're going to lose Mother England to heathens, criminals, and savages. Nate needs to move to the USA.
I know.
Yeah, I need some hot little American bird, blonde, hot American chick. Marry me, give me a green card.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
you realize that
Hit me up on Twitter at Misstage Reviews. Hot blonde chick, American. Thanks very much. Cheers. I'll solicit. I'll solicit here. That's fine. I'll solicit for a green card. I don't give a fuck. Anyway.
No, I will never abandon Albion in her hour of need. I'm not joking. I will never abandon the land of my forefathers. A few people say that. I've had comments. Why don't you just move to America? It's like no, never.
Yeah. I'm the same. Like, I mean, I could leave now if I wanted to. There are ways doing this kind of business. I could get a visa. I could move there. I could sell up. Like, you can realistically. I could realistically do that. I don't want to. You know, I love what this country was. I want it to be back there. So yeah.
I mean, I could get joint citizenship very easily because my dad is American.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
His passport is. I mean, he's been here much longer than he ever was there. I think he left the United States when he was in his mid-20s or late 20s, and now he's in his 70s. But he's still a full American citizen with an American passport. And so I think that entitles me, it makes it slightly easier for me to get joint citizenship or something. So.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not leaving England again in her hour of need.
It is a bit needy right now.
Yeah. Bob Uncle for £10 says Labour have genuine Islamist MPs. Zara Sultana, Coventry MP, who said a whitey can't represent her community. Birmingham MP Tahir Ali, who's trying to introduce blasphemy laws. Labour a disgrace. So slight correction. Tahir Ali, I think, is an independent MP now, or was always. I'm pretty certain he is an independent Muslim MP. Zara Sultana was in the Labour Party. I don't know if she got booted out due to her Palestine comment.
I think he took the whip away from her. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain. I mean, so basically, she's effectively out of the Labour Party from that perspective. Like, she's not. I mean, she's still part of it, but yeah. But yeah, mate. Yeah, I've said this before, and you know, I'm happy to go on a record and say it. No matter what religion you are, no Muslim should hold political power in this country. They just shouldn't, because they always vote en masse. They always vote for, you know, they vote for Muslim politics, Muslim interests, and that's not. You need to represent England, right? So no, like I don't want to beat around the bush on it. I don't think any Muslim, and I'm sure there's nice ones out there, fine, but you still shouldn't hold political power in the UK. It should be British people that should hold political power in the UK. Weird, you know, weird concept, but yeah, I think it's disgusting. I find it offensive, quite frankly.
And the Muslim caucus among, if you want to call it that, among the Labour Party is just the start of it. There's loads of MPs they've got that are not Muslim that are just equally as subversive and enemies of the people. Loads of them. I mean, if you just look at John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn, I mean, John McDonnell, when he was Shadow Chancellor, basically said he would dismantle the capitalist mode of profit. he would introduce an actual sort of communist economy. So the Labour Party has always been traitors.
Yeah,
you go back to the 1920s. They literally put on dinner parties for Lenin and Stalin.
Fucking Christ!
I mean, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone pointed out that Reform's chairman Mohammed Zia Yusuf, is a Muslim. Yeah, I won't vote for Reform again. Like, I'm not voting for Reform.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Like,
happy
yeah,
to say it. Like, he bought his way into that. He shouldn't be in there. Like, I think Reform is shit as a result. Like, nah. That ain't it, Chief. Like, no.
they done me a favor kicking me out for sure.
Mm,
It's a containment project.
yeah.
I mean, it's the best containment project we've got at the moment. It's doing the best job of pretending to be actually right wing, or not even right wing, just centrist. Really, they're doing the best job at pretending to be that at the moment. So I'll take it, but there's no alternative. But it's a containment project, absolutely a containment project.
Yeah. 100%. Zombie Box sends in a £3 super sticker. Thank you so much, buddy. This is our great moderator in the chat, Andy McCallum. And also, Chaos is Fun super chat $2 over on Streamlab says, "Smash the gangs. The only thing he's seen smashed is his wife when he's allowed to sit in the corner."
Wow, that's rough.
I love that's brilliant. That's brilliant. All right, well, there we go. We will move on from this now.